Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Al-Qahtani. Thank you for a great reminder of why it's an exciting time to be in education, and particularly to be in Saudi Arabia. Before we begin, though, just a couple of quick bookkeeping moments. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me? A couple quick bookkeeping moments. We have these feedback form. At the end of the day, we would very much appreciate your feedback so we can understand which presentations and which parts of the day's events were most appealing and where we might be able to do better next time. And then we would also very much like you to fill in the raffle forms, the coupons, from your program sheet. The first one is down at the very bottom, and we will be doing that drawing after the first session. So please make sure you fill that out, and we will have somebody come around and collect them. And also do the second one and the third one as well, and those will at the beginning of each session. So my name is Mark Yates. I'm from IDC. Welcome. As I said, it's an exciting and interesting time to be in education. There's new technologies and new developments. New possibilities are emerging from these technologies that we haven't seen before. It's a particularly exciting time to be in the kingdom. As Dr. Al-Qahtani pointed out, the technology is being leveraged heavily, and education is a very large priority with the government. And this has made a world of possibilities open up that haven't been there before. And it's very exciting. And I think one reason we need to look at this and think about this is because of the changing nature of education. We have, let me see if my laser pointer is working. Yep. We have this educator, David Warlick, 35 years experience in education. 35 years as an educator, as an administrator, as a consultant in North Carolina. And he points out that we are in this new time of rapid change. And we are preparing our students for a future that we can barely imagine. I just had a daughter, and I'm pretty sure that unless she does something like become a poet or a writer or a mechanical engineer, there's a very good chance that many of the jobs that she may seek don't exist yet. And part of this is because of technology. Part of this is because of the rapid pace of change. And education is embracing this change. And we are seeing from the presentation we just had that it's already happening. And it's very exciting. And this is where we must be adaptive to change. And this translates into multiple different things. I don't want to reiterate what Dr. Al-Qahtani has already mentioned. But it's the idea of using the network, using mobile devices, using the new technologies to find better ways of teaching and instructing our students. The student today is not the student I was. I imagine many of you have experience that I had, which I went to a classroom, I sat in a chair, and a teacher got up and lectured me. I did my homework, I took the test, and that was it. Everything is changing now. We have massive online open courses. We have internet videos on YouTube. We have interactive websites. We have mobile solutions that allow you to text and communicate with your instructors and your professors. We have academic sharing. We have networks that connect different departments and different universities in ways that we've never seen before. The student today is part of that. The student of today sits at the center of this. The student of today comes to classroom ready to do all of this. And Saudi Arabia is no different. If we look at some of the statistics, we see Facebook, 23% of the population. That's just Facebook. There's also LinkedIn. With Twitter usage in KSA, the growth has been 3,000%. It is one of the fastest growing Twitter users in the world. Among YouTube, it is the largest user of YouTube in the world per capita. This is a culture that's connected, that is embracing new technology, that understands how we can use new technology to communicate. It's a very exciting time. And you see, Arabic is the largest growing language on Twitter. And this gives up an opportunity, in education in particular, for Saudi Arabia, for the university to take the lead. Now, very quickly, the reason this change has come about is we've moved from the old world of big, massive mainframe computers. I see many faces out there, and most of you look much too young to remember these things. They're massive, big things that took up entire rooms. They had punch cards with them, sometimes tape drives. We moved to the desktop era in the late 1970s and early 80s. Bill Gates, if you remember, famously said he wanted a computer on every desktop by 1988. And of course, we did that. We called that the first platform to the second platform. And the second platform, we had LAN. We had some beginning internet. And we moved into the 1990s. And then we finally hit the 2000s, and we come to the third platform. We all know Moore's law. Processing power expands every 18 months to 2 years. It doubles. Storage capacity expands every 18 months to 2 years. It doubles. Networking is now ubiquitous. In the past, we hoped to get an internet connection. Now we ask, why don't we have an internet connection? Our mobile phones have gotten faster and faster and faster. We can connect to everything with wireless remote. We have a new technology called cloud computing. In the past, you had software on your desktop. Now you have a connection. The software sits in a cloud, and you access it. I think most email works this way. All of you probably have something in the cloud already. In addition, we have this idea of big data. Big data is being leveraged very well in universities. It can help monitor students, track their progress, and make them do better. And we finally have, where's the other one, the social. This is the Twitter, this is the YouTube, this is the LinkedIn. These are new channels for communicating, and people are embracing them. They're not replacing the old channels. Those are still there as well. We still have instruction. We still have face-to-face. We still have telephones. We still have email. We are adding new channels, and that's creating new ways to absorb and understand information. It's a very exciting time. But this brings us to the new student. The new student has, what's the number? I can't remember. An average of 17 connected devices. This is based on an annual survey. This one's a little bit old already. This one's from 2011. 3,000 students surveyed at 1,700 universities. And just a quick look at what the student has. We have laptop, PC, the guitar, I suppose. There's, looks like a little charger for your iPod. There's a connected device here, a little music equipment. This is a little, looks like a video game. Here you have another tablet down there. You've got the telephone. It's incredible. We're going to have a presentation also about the Internet of Things that points out how all these devices are now speaking to each other. Let me digress just for a second into the automotive industry. The average car now has somewhere like, I think it's 75 or 80 computers inside of it. Tiny little devices monitoring everything that happens inside the car. And then there's a central computer that brings it all together. And this allows automobiles to communicate with each other, to communicate with parking solutions, to communicate with central security solutions, so that your car is much safer than it's ever been before. The same thing is going to be happening in education. It's already happening in education. And the students are part of it. It's no longer of, can I do this? It's, why can't I do it already? Let me digress once again. Students feel they are more plugged in than their professors at the moment. And I think part of this is reflective in this shift that happened in the early 2000s. I think many of you must remember there used to be this idea of a portal to the web. There would be a portal. You would go there, and it would say, the World Wide Web is a fascinating, interesting place. We will sort the information for you and take you to where you want to go. Google came along and said, no. The information you need is out there. It already exists on the web. Come to us, we will take you to it. This is a fundamental shift in the way people were thinking. The same shift has happened with students. Students today are very connected. They expect the professors to be connected. And you can see 39% of their instructors, 39%, that's 4 in 10, wish their professors were more instructive. When I got a master's degree, and at the time I got it, I was at one of the most connected, one of the top 10 connected universities in the US. All my instructors had stuff online. They were more connected than me. I just was talking to an alumni association, a graduate who graduated in 2007 or 8, and now the students are more connected than the professors. It's true in the US, it's true everywhere. It's a big challenge in education. 1 in 3 students think the instructor often requires the help of others to get technology up and running successfully. This makes sense. Instructors and students are starting to speak different languages, and one of the big challenges of education, which Dr. Akotani highlighted with some of the initiatives that are happening here, is to bring those two together. This change is not new. It's just moving faster. Excuse me for a second. Sorry about that. This is a quote from way back in 1703. Students today cannot prepare to bark to calculate their problems. They depend on their slates. This goes way back when you had a blackboard and a piece of chalk and the students would do things and then erase them and do them again. Then we had another one with too much dependence on paper. Students today are dependent too much on paper. They don't know how to write on a slate. And that was 1815. And then we moved to students today too much depend on ink. 1907. So we went from 300 years to 100 years to for a couple decades. Now we are ballpoint pens will be the ruin of education. Ballpoint pens, really. And finally, we are in the classroom of today, where we're talking about tablets, PCs, mobile phones, videos, interactive ideas. I learned something called the electron transport chain at university. I learned about it in a lecture and a textbook. It was hard to understand and hard to learn. There is a video on YouTube that explains it in 5 minutes. And it makes it easier to understand and learn. This is one reason why students today are smarter than I was when I was a student. They can learn faster through video, through technology, through iPads, through phones, through new techniques. Now, we know this is a mixed bag. No technology comes clean. We don't want students in the back texting with friends. We don't want students playing games on their iPads when they're in our classrooms. This is the conflict and the challenge that comes with education. And part of it is the IT departments must evolve. This is a classic one. IT has to evolve or die, in quotes. Education must go with it. They must embrace these new ideas. Let me just check to see how we're doing on time. I think we're okay. I'll accelerate just a little bit. And the challenge with coming into evolving is very difficult because here's the thing. We have cloud. Cloud is a fundamental new way of developing and administering software. You'll still have client-based servers. You'll still have programs running on your phones. You'll still have applications on your PCs. But cloud is coming in and it's changing the way things work, especially when you have to license or provide things for a lot of people. Mobility is changing things. It's changing the way we communicate. It's already changed the way we communicate. It's changing the way we can deliver education and information. Social media is changing things. Big data is changing things. So here is the new direction. We know we need to embrace these technologies. And when you look at these top challenges, we find time, get staffing and maintaining security, limited budgets, governing and regulation and IT compliance. We find that the challenges driving IT spending priorities are reasonably predictable. And we see top spending priorities. Build and expand a data center, virtualization, advanced security, disaster recovery, mobile enterprise applications are also reasonably clear. But innovation depends on that third platform. Innovation depends on these new technologies. And look where they come in the priorities. They're way down at the bottom. And this is a fundamental conflict again. The world around us is now consumer-driven. People expect to be able to do everything on their phones, to be able to be connected. If I'm a math student, I expect to be able to work on problems interactively online. I expect to be able to communicate with my fellow students and my professors. I expect to get information through my phone and through interactive media. And yet, investments in IT departments are still not at the top. It's a tension. They will come along, I think. But it's still, I don't have a good answer for this. This is the fundamental tension at the moment. Part of this reflects a larger issue that is separate from IT. And this is the strategic thinking. This happens in the US, it happens in Japan, it happens in China, it happens here. It happens everywhere. Forbes, 65% of organizations have agreed upon strategy, 14% of employees understand the strategy, less than 10% successfully execute the strategy. It was great to see Dr. Al-Qahtani's presentation this morning because I can see that he's actually giving and developing solutions that match a very clear and direct strategy. This is unusual. We can see the challenge is huge. 40% of new IT projects will be outside of the IT department. They will be more about line of business, the educators, the HR, the finance, the marketing, communications departments. And this comes back to the idea of communication. This is a slide, maybe some of you have seen it before. It's famous. It's what customers say they need, and how the customer explains it. It's a swing with 3 steps. How the project leader understood it, how the analyst designed it, how the programmer wrote it, how the business consultant described it. I love this one. It's chair. How it was documented. We actually kind of have this problem ourselves. And eventually what was needed. And I think this slide is a very telling point because it speaks to that issue of communication. Now, I don't want to go through too much here. I think this is just final points on basically we need to embrace and communicate. Dr. Al-Qahtani is communicating. He has a clear understanding of what students are doing and need. This is a big challenge for all of us. We have to listen, we have to communicate, we have to put things together, we have to check our strategy. Now, I'm not going to go through all of this because there's many approaches, there's lots of books on how to communicate, how to design strategy. The only thing I would say is the difference is check your strategy. If you have a strategy, make sure it is a genuine strategy. When I say that, what I mean is there's a goal and there's a strategy. The strategy is how to achieve the goal. And many people have a goal without steps to achieve it. From an IT perspective, we've already seen this is happening right here at the university today. Make things mobile. Embrace multi-tenant systems. This is a cloud system with multiple aspects, client and cloud and everything in between. Look for value in mashups. Come at it from a solution point of view. I need my students to get information on their phones, so I need a back-end system that can communicate with the students rather than coming at it from a technical point of view. I need a back-end system. Why? Well, I don't know why, because everybody has a back-end system. Start from the reason and work back. I will just say one last thing. Expand connections with line of business. I think in education that is essential because the business of education is to inform students, to teach them, to train them, to help them understand their own capacities and to get them excited and interested and curious about the world. And technology is a wonderful way to do that. So this is my presentation. I would now wrap things up. Question and answers. I think we will go ahead and move to the next session. Let me check on the time. Great. I think we are doing okay. So if I could bring our next speakers to the stage. If I could have Sean and Hassan. Oh, the raffle, yes. We can do the raffle first. I was going to save it till after, but we will do it now. Sorry, Sean, for holding 1 second. Let me do the raffle. All right. I may need help with the Arabic. So, I mispronounced the name. If you could read the name.
Dr. Abdul Hamid, College of Pharmacy.
Great. Great. Dr. Al Hamid, College of Pharmacy? Is he here? Dr. Abdul Amin Mohammed Donia, College of Pharmacy? Is he here? Oh, he says they have more raffle tickets to gather together. He doesn't seem to be here. So let's do this later, and we will collect the rest of the raffles. Yes, great. All right, Sean, if you could come to the stage, that would be great. Please have a seat. And is Hassan here? ETS? Well, we will begin with you, I think. So terrific. I will turn the floor over to you. Let me clip my mic here.